All right. I think we're live. It says we got one person watching on Rumble, nobody watching anywhere else. Yay. See if anybody shows up for this. Dooby-dooby-doo. In case anybody's wondering, that might be out there, which I don't think anybody is right now, but had some technical issues. As in, for some reason, when I hit to go live, it killed the stream instead. So I had to quickly reset everything up. So waiting to see if anybody shows up. We got DM Foss on the panel. How are you tonight? You there, Foss? If you're talking, you're muted.
All right, is it working now?
Yep, now it's working.
All right. I always forget that Rumble brings you in muted.
Yeah. It's crazy. I hit go live and instead everything went bye-bye. It was like, what the hell? I look over on YouTube, the stream's gone from YouTube, and I go back over, look on Rumble, and it said watch the episode. It was like, how am I supposed to watch something that hasn't happened? It's like, what the hell? First time I had that happen.
Yeah, I kept hitting the join button and it wouldn't let me join.
Yeah, I had to resend the links out and everything. I don't know what the hell happened. The joys of doing stuff on the internet, folks. And speaking of, we now have viewers out there, so they're starting to roll in. We got Run to A Matters and Gens and Barbecue, Artak and Daughters, 223 DMR, and Gizzard Gary. So, evening, folks. Oh, I already said that now. I guess it doesn't hurt to tell everybody good evening more than once, I guess. A little redundant, maybe, but I don't know.
Well, for those who have just joined.
Yeah, but it was all the same people.
Maybe they weren't listening the first time.
There's a good possibility of that. Anyway, we beat on Snow White last week, so I figure we can beat on her some more today. The numbers for this week are not good. I don't know if you saw, they had a 65% drop off from last weekend to this weekend. They don't even know if the movie's going to make $200 million. Good.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say it cost them over $500 million to make. What were you going to say?
Oh, it was troubled from the start.
Oh, yeah. My favorite tweet I think I saw this week, though, it had me cracking up. And the whole reason why I bring up the Snow White thing again was just so I could throw this out there. Somebody on Twitter, or X now if you prefer, said that the reason why the movie did not do well is because it is the Islamic holiday of the month of Ramadan. So at least one Muslim is trying to take credit for Snow White failing in the theater.
I don't know.
I mean, they tried taking credit for COVID until they started catching it. So at this point, is there anything that Muslims won't take credit for? Anyway, that cracked me up when I saw that one. It also made me wonder. So does this mean that when Ramadan's over, all of a sudden a billion or so Muslims are going to rush to theaters to see Snow White?
It's doubtful.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But the way that this guy or girl, I don't know, his tweet was written makes you think they were trying the point they were trying to make. I don't know. Yep. Jacob S is out there. Evening, Jacob. Sorry, Jacob, you didn't win. There's no giveaway. But yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, Disney's in trouble. I mean, did you see the reveal they did for Marvel for Doomsday?
I heard about it.
God, that was just 5 hours of just sitting there watching a chair get revealed every 10 to 15 minutes. Who thought that was a good idea? And who are the 100,000 people that watched the whole damn thing?
Probably mostly bots, but I've heard it was akin to something they do with soccer. I don't know if when they're drafting or however whatever they do for European soccer.
I'm ready then. I don't know. I don't watch European soccer, so I don't know. Like Gary says, Disney is magical. Everything they touch lately is magically effed up. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. The one thing they got going right now, which is halfway decent, nobody's watching, and that's Daredevil on Disney Plus. Of course, it's not supposed to be anywhere near as good as Daredevil was when it was on Netflix, but that's a hard act to follow, and they're not supposed to be connected, even though they have the same cast. Figure that one out. Jacob says they're having thunder and tornado watch warnings where he's at. Over there in Indiana.
It's a pretty nice day here today.
Yeah, it was raining here.
Went to the range this morning, and I had yesterday. I reloaded 45 for the first time, so I took those out, and they all shot well. It was a good day.
Cool. Now, Gizzard out there says soccer is like cricket. Billions of people across the world love it, and millions in the U.S. ignore it. That's fair. Bernie's out there. So evening, Bernie. I don't know if I said hi to Bernie yet or not. Just be on the safe side. Say it again. Hi, Bernie. Yeah. Played soccer in middle school.
I went to one soccer practice when I was a kid. grade school age. My mom had asked me, "Do you want to play soccer?" And I said, "Okay." And the registration was $1. No, this was the mid-70s. So we dug around the house and the couch and whatever, came up with $1. And I went to the first practice, kicked a girl in the shins, and never went back. I didn't do it on purpose, but
Gary said soccer is like hockey, except with less action and no fighting. Now, soccer, you're not carrying around a weapon either. And soccer, somebody taps you, you act like you broke your leg. Yeah, it's probably going to be a quick chat. Fluffy
I did take my son to an MLS, the Seattle Sounders game, and it was fun. It's the MLS and European soccer. They're different games. The Europeans are a lot better than the MLS, and it's more tailored for Americans, the Major League Soccer. But the whole crowd, it's a group experience. Everybody's having fun. There's different supporter groups that are chanting, and like I said, it was a fun time.
Say hey to Fluffy out there. Yeah. Really ain't got much this week. I mean, what really happened?
Tesla protest.
Yes, more Tesla protests. I don't know if you heard my wife.
The vehicles they like to buy. And their own type of vehicles.
The fence dads out there. Even in the U. But yeah.
You could say it's heavy. Defense dad said, "What are we unloading tonight? Is it heavy?" He's unloading the knowledge. Some heavy, heavy knowledge.
Okay. I thought I was just rambling, but all right. I lost track of what I was going to say because Amy, who had to stick her 2 cents into. The Supreme Court, for those of you who haven't seen, ruled that ATF can go ahead and say that polymer 80s have to be serialized.
Well, it's the way the suit was brought was the biggest problem.
I know.
With the suit.
Yeah, the suit was brought not on constitutional grounds, but on legal grounds based on the actual gun control act of 68 and not actually whether it should be constitutional or not for them to have to be serialized. And the way the law is written, on it, then they said it's going to be case by case basis as well. So there's that too. It's a mixed decision at the best. Yeah, that's about all I got to say on that one. Is
And
it
that's
gonna?
all I got to say about that.
Yeah, because I don't know if that decision is going to affect a whole lot of other stuff. To be perfectly honest. Of course, you have the certain YouTubers out there acting like, again, it's the end of the world because something didn't go exactly the way they wanted it to.
Well, yeah. I'm getting tired. Tired of that and tired of when some anti-gun law gets upheld in a lower court, in a district, in a circuit court, and then they're like, this case is going to the Supreme Court. It's like, no, you're going to appeal to the Supreme Court to take it. It doesn't mean that it's going to the Supreme Court.
Right. They got to grant certiorari before they'll hear the case. You know, people got this idea that Supreme Court appeals are automatic. Only if you're on death row, folks. Only if you're on death row. Imagine if the Supreme Court granted cert to every single case that appeals to it.
Well, there's like over 2,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I guess the current makeup of the court is taking less now than in the near past. But I don't know if I don't know why. If it's just they want to contemplate each case more, or they don't think they should be hearing as many.
Yeah. But let's let this sink in, though. Like Foster said, on average, you get about 2,000 appeals to the Supreme Court every year. If they heard all 2,000 cases, they would never leave the building for the next 5 years just to hear cases filed this year. They're not going to take every Second Amendment case, Vanessa. They're just not.
I would of course like them to, but you have to remember they're not the okay, I won't talk.
I know, right? As soon as you start talking, she starts barking.
They're not the Supreme Court of the Second Amendment. So they have to hear everything constitutional. So I am, I am barely educated and not well educated to begin with. So I don't know what all goes into the decisions, but there's a lot of other things that they need to consider taking.
Yeah. We don't know what all those other 88 cases are. They could, in the larger scale of things, be just as important and directly affect somebody's life more than something else does. You got it.
And then when the DOJ goes to the Supreme Court, their cases tend to get a little more weight. So they get to go to the front of the line to see if they get hurt or not.
Or when the White House is, when the Solicitor General goes to the White House, which we've had happen over the last couple weeks because of other decisions being handed down by courts where they're stopping, certain types of deportations and stuff, which are based on U.S. law. Those are going to take precedent with the Supreme Court, whether you like it or not. Those have to be heard by the Supreme Court before anything else, and they take up docket space. Something's got to get bumped.
And kind of one of the other problems with the anti-gun laws is in a circuit where there's anti-gun laws, they'll get challenged. When there's a circuit, all the other circuits that aren't anti-gun, they don't get challenged. So there's not a split in the courts.
Yeah, you're not going to challenge Rhode Island's magazine ban because that's the one that she put out there. You're not going to challenge that in the Fifth Circuit. So the Fifth Circuit's not going to hear it. You're only going to hear that in, I forget what circuit Rhode Island's in, but you're only going to hear it in that circuit. There's not going to be a split, so the Supreme Court's not obligated to take the case. If it's a split between two different circuit courts, pretty much they're obligated at some point to hear the case. And the same thing with Maryland's assault weapons ban.
And they have not outright denied these cases, so there's still hope that sometime in the future they will take them. Was it the New York Rifle and Pistol? I think that took a while for them to once they started petitioning. It took a while for the court to take it up.
Yeah, sometimes you have to appeal more than once. Like I said, they got a very limited number of cases they can hear in the course of a year.
So I think it was something like 5 times.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. But.
And there are certain cases that are automatically going to take precedence over others. So what else is going on? Jacob said we were completely wrong about on our bracket on Gary's show about March Madness, which I'm not surprised. I know jack shit about basketball.
I don't. If Washington State University is not in it, I don't pay attention. And they're never in it, so I don't pay attention. I mean, they're lucky to get in the NIT.
Jacob said Tennessee beat Kentucky. Okay. Yeah. Not a follower of basketball, so. Yeah. I mean, every answer that I gave, I was doing it as a joke anyway, because I didn't know shit about it.
Like I said, I used to watch WSU football, football and basketball. And then when they started the Pac-10 network, I didn't get that network, so I couldn't watch them. And so I don't watch college basketball and I don't watch professional basketball.
Yeah, I don't either.
When Oklahoma stole the Sonic, well, it's nice to think to blame Oklahoma for taking the Sonics, but the owner sold it. Sold them to and he gutted the team just before, so he could sell them, and you could see it coming.
Hmm.
And I had kind of got tired of the product on the court. You know, LeBron James is a very talented basketball player, but it's a lot easier to play basketball when you don't have to dribble.
Hmm. This is true. I've heard from various people that they could probably call traveling constantly every time
It's
turn.
it's ridiculous.
Somebody once told me that if they called traveling as often as they could, nobody would ever score.
Well, they'd have to start dribbling again.
Mm. Which takes us back to soccer, which also has dribbling, but not in the same way. Well, soccer also has tackling, but it ain't what you would think either.
Well, it's more tripping, but they call it slide tackling.
Hmm. Well, tackling is when you steal the ball.
Yes, Jacob, I understand that completely.
Yeah, he's a Seattle Seahawks fan, so he understands that completely.
The head ref was from Pittsburgh. It's a little fishy.
Uh-huh. It was 20 years ago, man. Let it go.
Never. Never. I will hang on to my anger until your dying days.
You're getting to be as bad as John Madden with the Immaculate Reception. Talk about somebody who couldn't let something go. It's not like the Steelers went on to win the Super Bowl that year or anything either. Yeah, somehow it's turned into a sports chat. No, last week turned into a movie chat. So, you know, I always say you never know what we're going to talk about on this show. Had to yell at a cat. Doing something they weren't supposed to.
Was it a hep cat?
No, it was a dumb cat. Playing with wires they shouldn't be playing with. Now we were up to 11 people on YouTube. Now we're down to 6. Wow. What the heck happened? I'm going to blame Sports Ball Chat. Really ain't nothing, a whole lot new stuff and firearms to talk about. I don't think anybody's released anything new since shot. At least not that I can think of. I haven't really been paying attention too much to the news.
I hardly ever.
Apparently
Like,
good.
I was going to say, like Thoreau said, he doesn't read the newspaper. It's always the same news: a murder, a robbery, and something else.
Mm-hmm.
To paraphrase.
Yeah. Yeah, Trump administration still trying to get their hands on Greenland. Sent the vice president over there.
I'm out of the shower, Brittany.
Somebody tried setting fire to the New Mexico Republican headquarters entrance, apparently. I'm looking at the headlines. Is there anything else? Ooh, Jackson Hewlett was busted helping illegal aliens get tax refunds. Suspect allegedly cuts off woman driving Tesla, then assaults her. Been a lot of that. Smuggling illegal aliens out of the U.S. has become a lucrative business under the Trump administration, according to a town hall headline.
Well, they can self-deport.
Mm-hmm. Actor Richard Chamberlain dead at age 90. And according to Washington Times, transgenders are now about 1% of the U.S. population. Not a whole lot interesting there either. Jacob, you don't have to say beans when you're talking about the price of a soda and a hot dog, dude.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, he said there didn't have storms raging. He would have been at a hockey game tonight. Yeah, apparently, parts of the Midwest, they're getting up towards the Great Lakes, they're getting ice storms. They're looking for people up that way not to be without power. They can keep that.
Shadow, come here. Come on.
Don't need no ice storms. I don't think we're going to get cold enough to where we have to worry about ice storms, to be honest.
Nope.
It was in the mid 70s today. Supposed to dip down to 36 tomorrow night. $2 for a soda and $3 for a hot dog. Sheesh. And he says that's half of what they normally cost. Prices at these damn marinas and stadiums are just too ridiculous. Beer prices are even worse.
As long as people are willing to pay them, they'll keep charging it.
Mm-hmm. God. When our youngest daughter was in school, we went on a tour of Heinz Field, and the concession stand, their menu board was $15 for a Bud Light. $15.
Dang.
Yeah, that was a while ago, too. So it's like, Jesus Christ. At that time, you could buy a case of Bud Light for $15. They wanted it for one.
Well, that's Pittsburgh. They're always trying to cheat you.
Concession prices are just that damn ridiculous. And yes, that was pre-Dylan Mulvaney days. When people actually were buying Bud Light. There's people have gone back to buying it. I guess the embargo or whatever was lifted.
I doubt most people ever stopped buying it.
Around here they did. They couldn't give it away. People would buy Budweiser, but they weren't buying Bud Light. It's like, yo, it's the same thing. Same company. Boycotting a specific product and buying their other product ain't going to hurt them.
Well, that's like the people that say, try pick a specific day and they tell everybody, don't buy gas on this day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're going to buy gas the next day.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make a statement, stop driving.
Mm-hmm. It's like that, don't use your cell phone day. But what if I got to call somebody? Or I got to get, absolutely have to call somebody. Like a doctor or something, or 911 because somebody needs an ambulance. G-Webs is out there. Yeah, I keep yawning. Oh, let's see. Pittsburgh Penguins post game. Bet you they lost. No, they won. 1-0. I'm shocked. I haven't watched a hockey game in like 2 years.
I tried to get into the Kraken,
Mm-hmm.
but just couldn't quite get into it. I've heard that hockey is completely different when you see it live compared to watching it on TV. That's the way sumo is. It's a very different experience when you see it live. And I've never seen one live. I do like to watch like the women's Olympic hockey, the chicks
Mhm.
fighting. That's always fun.
Yeah, women's hockey is a different game from men's hockey too. It's a lot faster. A lot faster paced game. This time of year, we don't even have Black Friday sales to bail us out on something to talk about.
Jacob, if people quit buying 9mm, it would tank the prices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Chief says, want to make a statement? Quit 9mm.
Well, that's what Jacob was saying. If wouldn't that drive up prices? So it would do the opposite.
Yeah.
I can say that at the range I go to, people who shoot 9mm and 22 don't pick up their brass.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up some 9mm brass and brought it home, and I picked up as much 9mm. I took my 2 Kimbers, so I was only shooting 45, and I brought home as much 9mm brass as I did 45.
Yeah, I'm wondering what Jacob considers expensive. Is 9 as cheap as it was? No, but it's not super expensive either, depending on what you're buying.
It's cheaper than 40.
Mm-hmm. It's cheaper than 380.
Nine millimeter is nice. It's cheap. It's easy to shoot. You can get in touch with your feminine side. There are some pluses to 9mm.
Mm-hmm.
I think some 9mm comes with a Massengill coupon.
Jacob says any round that is more than 20 cents per round is expensive. I'm not sure I can agree with that. You got to look at what you're buying. I would never go into an ammo or gun shop or whatever. There are some that just sell ammo, and expect to find a 50 caliber round for less than 20 cents. Just, yeah, I mean, different calibers are going to have different costs because there's different costs involved in making them. He said his area 9mm is about 25 to 30 cents per round. Yeah, that's about right. It's about the national average, depending on whether you're buying target ammo or defensive ammo. Target ammo being at the lower end of the scale, and defensive ammo at the higher end usually, unless you're buying a more bargain price brand like Herders or something at Bass Pro. Then you might find more in the middle of the price between target and defensive ammo.
So for Cabela's, 50 rounds, 115 grain. Herders is 14. Winchester is 15.
Mm-hmm.
Blazer is 16. Oh, the Blazer is 124 grain for 16.
Jacob says defense stuff is like double the price of ball. Again, depends on what brand you're buying and whatnot. The Herders defensive hollow points that I just bought a couple boxes of last time we were at Bass Pro was like under $20 a box for 50.
The Sig Elite Performance V Crown 124 grain is on sale right now for $17.99
That's
at
what 20.
Cabela's.
Is that a 20 round box?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And some online retailers, Jacob, if you buy online and you get it with free shipping, you can pay less if you buy it by the case. Your best bet, like with anything else, is to shop around when you're looking for it. Don't just automatically go to one place and just buy from there constantly if you're worried about pricing.
LAX has remanufactured 124 500 count for 119. Comes with a free ammo can. I know more recent, I've heard people kind of complaining about them.
Mm-hmm.
I still have some from, more than 5 years ago, and they were all fine. I don't know if there was something happened where they cut corners or all of a sudden or what. But I've never had a problem with LAX.
Yeah, I've never used their stuff, so I don't know. I mean, it's good to buy local to support local businesses and stuff, but you can get better deals online if you know where to look. And you take your time and you look around. But then that's true of just about anything. I don't know if anybody else has any comments on that subject or not. G-Webs is asking what happened last night. I don't know what happened last night.
We did a bracket, which he was not there for. I waited for him, and he never showed up.
Jacob's asking what place has the best cost per round of brass case nut. I don't know. That's what I said. You got to shop around right now. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
One drawback with you kind of talked about free shipping, but there's shipping and then the hazmat fee normally.
Well, generally with completely manufactured ammo, there is no hazmat. Usually, it's when you're buying the components that you have to pay hazmat. I've never paid hazmat buying ammo online. G-Web says that he's going to start an initiative in Washington to make it where it's going to be illegal to have brackets without 4 people.
Well, it's always better with more people, but what are we supposed to do
Mhm.
if you're not there? I
Mhm.
can't just keep pushing off the brackets. What if you don't show up the next week or the week after that? Then we don't have any brackets. We're held hostage.
He says you got to conscript people. He acts like this is China or something.
I don't have my own personal press gang.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk around downtown. Anyone who would like to be in the bracket, please lay down on the ground with your eyes closed. Did you ever see Yellowbeard?
Mm-hmm.
No. I know that's not the exact quote.
Mm-hmm. Kind of hard to do if I'm in bed already. Yeah, I don't take my cell phone to bed with me. So. Somebody's calling me in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning. It better be about something important. I'm not.
Get a bracket alert on your phone.
Yeah, like an Amber Alert for a bracket coming up. I love getting Amber Alerts for areas that aren't even near where I live.
You can turn that off.
Um,
It's deep in your settings.
oh, yeah, I know.
The only ones you can't turn off are the presidential ones.
I just leave them on just to see if they get one that's actually near where I live. They're always like at least 200, 300 miles away from here. We get one. Like, yeah. Uh-huh.
Making sure it's not the kid you took.
Can neither deny nor confirm. Yep. Yep. By the way,
Mhm.
G-Web said it's like voting in the draft mixed. So it's like North Korea where everybody is compelled to vote and they better vote for dear leader.
That was 10 at least 10 years ago. But the surgeon that went to North Korea to do eye surgeries for cataracts. And there's a reporter that went with him and they took secret footage. And the after the surgeries, the people would come out and then thank the dear leader. This was Un, not Il, or Il, not Un, with the father, not the son.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was, it's basically compulsory to do that. And oh, dear the leader, thank you for fixing my eyes. And
Yeah, voting in North Korea consists of two doorways. One doorway is dear leader. The other one is the opponent. If you walk through the one for the opponent, that takes you right into the firing squad. You get a call on your phone if you're lucky enough to have a phone in North Korea, and it's dear leader telling you, "You're lucky. I have picked you to be my opponent this year." The call that nobody wants to get. Wow, we've made it an hour.
well, you used up all your talking on those other extra long ones.
I know, right? Did 4 hours last week, and I can't think of a damn thing to talk about this week because we wasted it all last week. It's
You got to
Gary's
pace
fault.
yourself.
It's Gary's fault. If he's still lurking out there.
You always blame the guy that's not there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might just wrap this one up early. Can't really think of anything else to talk about. There's nothing really good in the headlines when I went through those. It's a slow news week. Whatnot. Those hurt too. It's a slow news week, and it's like, hey, who gives a shit about that? Disney trip ends in tragedy after mother kills son. Hated Snow White that badly?
Well, it's amazing that Disneyland, they say it's the happiest place on earth. There's a lot of unhappiness
Oh
in the
yeah.
Disney parks. There's a lot of stress that goes on.
Uh-huh. G-Webs asks, any thought on camping? I haven't done that in years.
Yeah, I haven't been camping since probably high school. I'm not against it.
Yeah,
I just
and
don't foresee doing it anytime soon.
yeah, I mean, if you enjoy it, I mean, now, are we talking actual camping or where people take an RV and call that camping?
KOA kind of camping.
Mm-hmm. You know, get your tent and a backpack and you go out in the woods somewhere, that type of camping.
Bless you.
Car camping, he says, drive to the forest, a spot, spend a few days. Yeah, basically what we did. When I was a kid, we'd drive into the state game lands, you know, park, hike in like a mile and a half into the woods, and, you know, set up camp. But then now you got all these trucks and stuff where you can hook tents and stuff right to the back of your truck.
We're on the roof.
Yeah, on the roof. Use the car's electrical system to power lights and stuff. The truck, I should say, not car. But you look at our Maverick has electrical outlets in the bed for doing that kind of stuff.
Well, and there's a lot of it is factory
Mm-hmm.
options. Well, accessories.
But yeah, it's been a long time since I did any kind of camping. So I remember the one time we did go to KOA, to a KOA campground. It was a church summer camp, the youth camp, and we're all in tents, and everybody around us has like RVs and trailers. The only time I've ever gone camping and there was a water slide. Water slide was free, so that was cool. Other than when we were having to do one of the activities at at our area of the campground, we were all just spending time at the water slide the whole time.
God, I think I was like 11 or 12. But compared to what we did when we went camping as a family, that wasn't camping. Now, she was asking, has every large crater on Earth been discovered? If no, what will yet be discovered? I don't know.
Some kind of fish.
Yeah, be my guess. If there's going to be anything majorly large that's going to be found, it's going to be something in the oceans. Be my guess.
What is it? We've explored more of the moon than we have of the ocean.
Something like that. That's what they say anyway. She says mountain giraffes can see people coming and book it before they get seen. If they exist. Yeah, who knows? Probably some kind of fish or octopus or squid type creature.
Well, you hear about the discovery of a new species, but it's the same fish. Just the lips are different.
Mm-hmm. Catch a 10-foot lobster.
I would think that a mountain giraffe would have a shorter neck and shorter legs, because it would be a regular sized giraffe would be a little too gangly to run on the mountain
Mm-hmm.
and the rocks.
I don't know how good their feet would be either.
I think they'd be okay because the hooves would be. Well, I don't recall their hooves exactly, but I would think it'd be somewhat similar to like a mountain goat. That's why their skinny legs, they'd be able to get up and through the rocks, but they'd have to be shorter.
Mhm.
I had heard, and I think this is the way I had heard it years and years and years ago, but basically there's kind of like two kinds of kung fu, and one comes from the mountain region and one from the lower plains. And I think it was the mountain region had more punching and the lower plains had more kicking, because on the rockier terrain in the mountains, they had developed shorter legs. So they punched more. And then down in the plains, they had longer legs and they kicked more.
I don't know. G-Webs thinks you're thinking of the mountain rhinoceros.
There's the Olympic Game Farm up in Sequim in Washington. Back in the 60s, early 70s, they used to supply the animals for a lot of the Disney movies. They have a rhino there.
Does it shoot lava rocks out of its horn?
No,
Oh, darn.
they don't. They don't have a dragon thing either, or a couple blobs.
Or a giant stone gorilla?
Yeah. The Herculoids, that's what it was called.
Yes, that was the Herculoids. At least you knew where I was going with it.
I'm old. I don't look it, but I'm old.
G-Web says Jacob has no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, that was a staple of Saturday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
The Herculoids, Godzilla,
Mm-hmm.
the cartoon,
Mm-hmm.
Josie and the Pussycat, Jabberjaw. And for where we were, I think it was afternoons after school, they'd have the banana splits. I can't remember if it was Saturday or after school for the craft, Sid and Marty craft. Croft.
Mm-hmm.
In the mornings, I'd go over to my friend's house. The bus stop was at his house, one of the bus stops. So I'd go to his house and we'd watch Star Blazers in the morning before school.
G-Webs is saying where he lived, Gem or something was on opposite the Herculoids, so it was no brainer to watch Herculoids.
Well, Gems was in the 80s.
Yeah, Gem was in the 80s. But that was on opposite of GI Joe when I was a kid in Pittsburgh. Banana Splits was on before school on weekdays when I was in school when I was younger. That'll be what we would watch before heading out the door to go to school.
Adam Ant, Secret Squirrel, Secret Squirrel,
Mm-hmm.
Squiddly Diddly, Wally Gator.
Yeah, all the old Hanna-Barberas.
Magilla Gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
A gorilla, la 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 la. Grape Ape. Hair Bears. Inch High Private Eye.
Yeah, there's one I haven't seen in forever.
Wacky Racers.
Mm-hmm.
Laugh Olympics.
Oh, yeah. The All-Star Laugh Olympics.
Yeah, Lancelot Link was on TBS. So when I went to my grandma's, they had cable. So I watched it sometimes when I was over at her place.
Oh, don't forget Super Chicken.
Super Chicken. Bark, 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 bark.
Super
Lippy the
Chicken.
Lion, Hardy Har Har.
Mm-hmm.
Touche Turtle.
Yeah.
Huckleberry Hound. El Kabong.
Mm-hmm.
Ricochet Rabbit.
Of course, Yogi.
Yeah.
Yogi and Boo Boo.
Flintstones, Jetsons.
Mm-hmm. Looney Tunes.
God, what was the other? Like Looney Tunes, but it was a different company.
The Harvey Tunes?
Harvey Tunes.
Yeah.
I think Heckle and Jekyll was Harvey.
Mm-hmm. Heckle and Jekyll, Mighty Mouse. I think Deputy Dog was. The one about the little girl witch that I can't think of the name of. Baby Huey. The giant frickin' duckling. And Jacob's getting even more lost right now. Of course, Saturdays also had Super Friends.
And Scooby Doo.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Doom,
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Thundar the Barbarian. It's
Mhm.
80s.
Yeah, that was 80s.
I
That
had the lunchbox.
Yeah. Thundar was on after Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Shazam, Jason of Star Command. Electro Woman and Dyna Girl, but that was Sid and Marty Croft.
Yeah, Space Ghost. Yeah, Herculoids came from Space Ghost. They were in the same universe.
Far Out Space Nuts. The Lost Saucer. That was Lost Saucer was Ruth Buzzy and Jim Neighbors. The Far Out Space Nuts was Gilligan, and the guy who looked like Nathan Hale.
There was another cartoon that was a spin-off of Space Ghost too, and I can't remember what the hell it was now. But he had Herculoids, and then there was another one. Remember the Impossibles, the rock band that were also superheroes? They were, Coil Man, Liquid Man, and Multi Man. Blue Falcon and Dynamite. Yes, Gary, we're still on. Dynamite. Dog Wonder. Thanks to Scooby Doo, Blue Falcon and Dynamite are also in the Batman universe. Batman and Robin were on Scooby Doo, and so were Blue Falcon and Dynamite. Therefore, they all exist in the same universe.
Well, so were the Globetrotters.
Yeah. And Don Knotts multiple times. Don Adams. Yeah, there's Gizzard jumping in.
What's up?
I don't know.
What's up?
We're just talking about old cartoons now. Last week it was classic movie. This time it's cartoons, apparently.
Old cartoons?
Yes.
Like black and white old, or
It was like 60s and 70s.
that ain't old. I grew up in the 60s.
Gary's Steamboat Willie era.
Uh-huh.
I remember Steamboat Willie.
There's a pretty interesting show I saw about Rube Iwerks. He's the guy that actually came up with Mickey
Mhm.
Mouse,
Yep.
and he has like a bunch of Oscars for technical innovations.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty
Yeah, he was.
interesting.
Yeah, he was like Walt Disney's right-hand man when it came to all the animation and stuff.
You know, when Disney got his start, he was actually based in Kansas City. In fact, the building where his studio was at is still there.
And you brought up Steamboat Willie. I saw the other day where somebody made a horror movie, Steamboat Willie. Like, alrighty then. I think it's a live action thing, kind of like they did with the Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
Well, if you go to Disneyland and you go on Main Street, there's a place where you can go in and watch Steamboat Willie. I remember that
Is
when
it the arcade?
I think so. I remember thinking that was so cool. This was almost 30 years ago, but still.
Mm,
In 96, I believe.
Jacob says we're all just worn out from the fun we had over the weekend.
I never went anywhere and did anything.
I didn't either.
Pretty boring weekend, actually.
G-Web says there's a Popeye horror series now too. What is with
well.
what in the hell is with turning all these like cartoons and shit into horror movies?
People
Jesus.
get bored.
G-Web said Popeye was a kid drawn by bullies, so he murders people in the town.
Wow.
Yeah. Jacob said he went to the casino and lost $20. The guy next to him lost $500.
The only way to win is not to play.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to play a game of chess?
I've seen people bet on them each move. It's like, I bet you're gonna move this. Like, the hell? I was like, it's crazy. Jacobs asks, wasn't Popeye based on a real dude? If he was, he had some really deformed arms.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a guy that they show that looks like Popeye. It has a corncob pipe and all that too. I forget what his name is.
Must have been before my time.
They got his looks from an old sailor.
Is there a before your time, Gary, or were you
Yes.
have you always been?
Come on now, Gary's not Allah.
Speaking of time, today is Sarge's birthday, so I don't know if he's watching or not, but happy birthday, Sarge.
Yeah, happy birthday if you're out there, Sarge.
I won't say how old he is, but he's getting up there.
He's older than me, I know that.
How old are you?
Old enough.
Old enough to what?
I don't know.
That's why we need to make sure that there are the younger generation, like Jacob S., coming up in the 2A, promoting the 2A, being the 2A.
And we need to instruct him on cartoons properly, so that he doesn't think SpongeBob is some great thing.
Can you imagine 20 or 30 years down the road, Jacob S. will have his own live stream? Be talking about how he came upon his knife fortune back in the day. You know, it's a funny story about that.
Green on a roulette wheel. I remember black and red. I don't remember it being a green.
It's 0.
Mm.
Now there's triple zeros on some.
Jacob says he's never watched SpongeBob. But I always found SpongeBob to be annoying as hell.
I watched it with my grandkids a couple times, and I just remember during the whole thing thinking to myself, why?
Mhm.
Why am I watching this?
I don't know, the Kurgan does one of the voices. Clancy Brown is one of the voices in SpongeBob.
Clancy Brown does voices on everything. It's
But he's
crazy.
the Kurgan.
Mm-hmm. G-Web says Jacob S. will be like Scrooge McDuck, but diving into a vault full of knives.
That could be painful.
Mm-hmm. I'm wearing a DuckTales shirt right now with Scrooge McDuck on it.
Ooh.
It'd be the Evansville Knife Museum somewhere. It'd be,
Nut Knife Museum.
during the
Nut-
week
nut
of the
and
West
knife.
Side Nut Club Festival, you could go to the Knife Museum too.
Yeah, the Knife and Nut Museum.
Yeah. Jacob S. meet and greet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, Jacob.
The one I really had to watch because my son absolutely loved it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh man.
Teenage Mutant Ninja. I will say Bluey. Bluey is probably one of the best kids cartoons ever made. There are times where I have realized that my daughter wasn't watching it anymore, but I still was.
Then when my granddaughter come along, I was indoctrinated to My Little Pony. It's like,
My Little Pony.
oh my gosh.
Oh, God, I hate My Little Pony.
What a world.
You're not a brony.
No, hell no. I think the last two quote-unquote kids shows that I watched would have been Phineas and Ferb and Gravity Falls. But
I liked
Both-
Gravity Falls.
yeah, both of those had elements that weren't really meant for kids.
Phineas and Ferb was okay, but it was the exact same episode every episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I even looked up the code at the end of each show
Mm-hmm.
to see what it was. I don't remember what it all said.
Gary would probably like Gravity Falls. Think of it like a cartoon Twilight Zone, Gary.
What? No, it's kind of cartoon X-Files Twin Peaks ish.
With elements of the Twilight Zone thing. And it's really good. It really is. You'll watch and you'll forget that you're watching a cartoon at times.
See, I didn't want a story when I watched cartoons. I wanted to laugh my ass off. That's why I liked Woody Woodpecker, because he was just annoying to everybody he met and would just make you laugh. Because he's just irritating to people.
Hmm.
And he was crazy. He was legitimately crazy. In fact, I believe in one of the episodes he was actually taken to a psychologist.
I just remember him always picking on the walrus guy.
I remember one where he went to a baseball game one time. It was so funny.
I haven't watched Woody Woodpecker in years. Nobody shows it anymore. It's like,
He got a bottle of soda or something like that, and he handed it to a policeman. He said, "Want a pop, cop?" He shook it up before he gave it to him. Of course, the top pops off of it because it has a cork in it back in those days. It goes all over him. He says, "No stopper, copper." He had to be there. It's funny.
mhm. Here we are talking about cartoons, and Jacob's asking if we saw videos of the earthquake that happened overseas. Trying to change the subject on us.
I know. It's kind of like we're boring him. I'm sorry.
I've seen short clips, but not on purpose. I chose not to watch the.
I didn't even know there was one.
I heard something about it last night, I think.
You seen one earthquake, you seen them all.
I actually lived through one.
I've lived through thousands.
Oh, right here in Kansas, we had one. I think it's in the '96.
And there was one here not that long ago.
It was like a 5.8 earthquake that was centered northeast Oklahoma, and we felt it. We were 200 miles away, and they felt it up in Kansas City. That's how. It's a pretty decent one. I mean, woke up. It was Saturday morning, and I woke up around 8 o'clock, and I remember opening my eyes, and I had this old antique dresser over in the corner of my bedroom, and it had the poles on it that kind of dangled down, and you could hear the whole dresser jingling over there. And I'm like a big truck or like a helicopter had flown over or something, shaking the house. I'm like, what in the
Hmm.
world's going on? And it just kept going on for about 30 seconds or so. Then it stopped. So I got on my computer and I saw on Facebook all kinds of people are like, "Did you feel an earthquake?" It's like, So I got searching the news. It's like, oh, that was an earthquake. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about what it was like here when we had one here a few years ago.
Somebody posted a picture of their patio furniture in the backyard and one of the chairs being knocked over and it had underneath it, "We will rebuild."
Yeah, the epicenter of the one here was over towards DC.
Usually the ones we get here are deep. Like in California, they'll be shallower, so there's more movement.
Hmm.
Here, they tend to be deeper, so there's usually not much damage, and it'll
Yeah.
just be you kind of feel it. It's like, is that you look for something that's hanging to see if it's swinging? Yep, it's an earthquake.
Yeah, pretty much the way it was. Yeah. Didn't really do any damage. Just shook a little bit.
The one that happened. But
Around here, if something gets knocked off a counter or a table, you just think it's a cat. So
Yeah, right.
the Snoqualmie quake that happened right around 2000, 99. The national news kept showing it made it look like it destroyed Seattle, but it was like one building where the brick facade fell.
Hmm.
It was pretty good, but felt it across the state. Because we were living in Eastern Washington, and The tall buildings on campus, I guess they swayed a little bit too. It's about 350 miles.
Geo said he visited California as a kid, walking across a parking lot, and an earthquake happened. Assumed it was all set up to make it think that the Earth isn't flat. If the Earth is anything like the Discworld that Terry Pratchett wrote about, the flat Earth is floating on four uh, elephants on the back of a giant turtle. So an earthquake is just when one of them elephants shifts its position around a little bit. You know,
Well, Japanese lore is there's a giant salamander that lives under the ground, and it's normally sleeping, and an earthquake is when it moves.
if you never read any of the Discworld novels, I suggest them. They are They are very, very good satire and parody and whatnot. Keep in mind, there's like 42, I think it was, or something. Shit, I forget how many books there is now. But there's a lot of Discworld novels that Terry Pratchett wrote. I've read all of them. I even read the little kid books that he wrote as part of the series. Yeah. I am just beat for some reason.
You did what?
I said, I am just beat for some reason.
He's got the beat.
I just feel so tired right now.
You should take a nap. That's what I do.
I'm not taking a nap in the middle of the show. I'm not barbecue.
Speaking of which, where is barbecue?
I don't know. He was out
He
in
was
the
out
chat
there
earlier.
earlier. Meow.
Meow.
Yeah.
Meow. Feed them cats.
Ain't my job to feed them.
Well, your cats, aren't they?
No, those are goddamn kittens.
Yeah.
Feed him to what?
Yeah, there's that too.
You need to give them kitty cats belly rubs. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, put them kitties on the glass.
Cats and belly rubs don't always do well for your hand. They sucker you in, acting like they want a belly rub like a puppy does, and when you go to give them a belly rub, they claw the shit out of you. It's like, you little mother. It's a trick.
You get him at the right age, you can play catch with a cat. Just got to find another guy standing on the other side of the room. You can throw him back
That
and
was
forth.
a great use for leg warmers. You can slip a cat in a leg warmer and toss it around.
You put a cat in a paper bag too. They like that a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do.
I had a cat crawl up inside one of my jackets one time. Crawled up inside the arm of one of my jackets. His head stuck out the sleeve end. Just cutest thing.
Jacob's still going on about the earthquakes.
Earthquake. Oh no.
No, not earthquakes.
I hope we don't have another one here because I'm up in the top floor of a 50-year-old apartment building. I'm going to feel it up here and hear it probably.
Well, if there's an earthquake, one of the best things you can do is to lay next to furniture because it creates a triangle safe space.
Now, Jacob, as far as earthquake in Indiana goes, if we have an earthquake that destroys Indiana, we're all in trouble.
I just hope that earthquake never comes. It's going to carry California off into the ocean because it'd take poor Foss with him too.
Quite
Be
possible.
bad. Could you imagine trying to do your show from an island?
The island of Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Would that change my time zone?
I think so.
It might, depending on how far out you drift. Just don't have too many Marines because we don't want you to topple over.
Going to be even harder for you to make it to Thunder on the Prairie since you can't drive anymore. Oh.
Hey, Kool-Aid!
Oh yeah. How about a Hawaiian punch?
Get
The
out of there.
commercials were just violent back in the good old
Oh,
days.
yeah. Kool-Aid man just running through stuff. The Hawaiian Punch guy just punching the hell out of people. Then you had some weird dude running around trying to get kids to eat cheese all the time.
Acrid for a hunk of cheese.
Mm-hmm. It's a wagon wheel.
Don't drown your. What is it?
Whispers.
I forgot how it goes. Don't drown your food in ketchup or mayo or goop. It's no fun to eat what you can't even see. Don't drown your food. I'm Mr. Mushmouth because I don't even brush.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it don't ever brush?
Yeah. And don't forget Mr. Yuck. Mr. Yuck stickers.
Oh, the poison things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Schoolhouse Rock might as well have been a commercial. It was during commercial breaks.
I had the DVD set and I don't know what happened to it. And then I had the Schoolhouse Rocks CD, which was covers by like Ween and Joe Strummer. I think was Blind Melon on that too.
I don't know.
It was before my time, definitely.
Uh-huh.
I had the Chef Aid CD also.
It was.
Chef
You gotta
A.
remember, I predate Sesame Street, so
Mm-hmm.
slightly. We had educational stuff like Captain Kangaroo to watch.
Yeah, Captain Kangaroo was on for a while.
Yeah, this is when he wasn't quite so old.
Mm-hmm.
He was just a lieutenant.
Yeah.
Romper Room, Kukla, Fran and Ollie. CBC had Mr. Dress Up.
I remember Romper Room and the Romper Stompers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Romper Room, Miss Molly with her magic mirror.
I see Richie. I see Timmy. And I see you, too.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Science.
Mr. Wizard.
Mr. Wizard, sorry.
Mr. Wizard.
Mr.
Yeah.
Wizard.
Mr. Science was, gosh, when I was in high school, I think it was a late night radio show. He used to come on this rock and roll station. It's really bizarre, too.
Can't forget Mr. Rogers. Good old Fred Rogers.
Hello,
Ding,
neighbor.
ding, ding, ding. Meow, 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 meow.
We're so glad you could join us today.
You're all my friends. You're all special. Each and every one. Why? Simply for being you. I actually got to watch them record an episode of Mr. Rogers Live. It was filmed right downtown in Pittsburgh. WQED, the local Pittsburgh affiliate for PBS. Jacob's asking, what's the most damage you ever had to repair on your house from a storm or natural disaster? House itself, none. Yard around it, a lot.
Had a severe hailstorm one time when I lived in a trailer house, and it took out the entire rear end of the trailer, which had a big window up above the bedroom, so it crashed the glass right onto the bed. Of course, bed had to be replaced, all that stuff. Most of the siding had to be replaced, roof repaired. Trailer didn't get blown away.
Almost had a tree go through our bathroom.
Jack,
I think I'm gonna bounce.
Yeah, about to wrap this
Yeah,
up anyway. Every episode can't be a 4, 5, 6 hour marathon. Anything you want to play or anything before you go, Foss?
Oh, I got a video coming out tomorrow. The Kimber Custom LWOR Shadow Ghost. And video on the 3rd. And should be a post for the Every Second Matters, which is coming up. So on the second of the month, go out and be an ambassador for the Second Amendment.
does that mean you
That's
have diplomatic immunity if you're an ambassador?
I wish,
That would be cool.
You should.
Mm-hmm.
but that's about it. So
What about you, Gizzard?
Well, what about me? Let's see. Tomorrow night is Monday, and that means foul territory. Yes, my friends. We're on Mondays now, in case you didn't know. Always 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time, every Monday now. And if you're a channel member of mine, and if you were just blissfully unaware, we have a members chat every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Central, where I give away a pocket knife that I've reviewed to an unsuspecting channel member. So, yeah, check that out. Knife reviews out last week. Probably have some out this week. Maybe a flashlight too. Stay tuned on that. And thanks for having me.
Yep.
well, if they have to enter a hashtag to win, they're probably suspecting.
Yeah, I would assume.
Well, if someone other than Jacob wins, they're unsuspecting. Because it's like,
Okay,
what? Jacob
well,
didn't win? Oh.
we'll allow it then.
Like, wow, these really are legit. Look, Jacob didn't win.
Yeah. Hopefully Justin will be there tomorrow for your show because I won't. I gotta get up too early Tuesday.
Well, I see how it is.
I gotta go
Gotta
to
get
the
up early.
Yeah, I gotta go to the eye doctor.
Oh.
Follow up visit for my right eye, and probably start the scheduling process for getting the left eye done.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes.
I went through about 2 months worth of eye doctors before they finally got my glasses straightened out. 3 different sets of glasses, 2 different eye exams. Oh well, it's over.
The best part is I may need a new eye prescription once I get all this done. And about the time they get it done will be right about when I got these from the VA, so I will be able to get a new pair through the VA.
Yeah, no,
Because you're allowed 1 pair of glasses a year through the VA.
yeah.
So
Mine weren't cheap, but that's okay.
mine wouldn't have been if I had to pay for them. So got the not bill, but the form from the VA the other day that said how much the eye surgery on my right eye was.
Hmm.
$25,000.
Dang.
Most of that in the eye drop chemicals that they use for the procedure.
See, you could have went to Mexico and got that done for like $50.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Dale Pogue popping in at the end of the show. Evening, Dale. And goodbye, Dale. But yeah, on that note, we are going to wrap this up. So thank my guests for showing up. And I should have a video coming out somewhere towards the middle of the week. And put out the video for MTR Custom Leather from the Great American Outdoor Show. So keep an eye out for that. And we'll see you next week. Have a good night, everybody. We'll catch y'all later. Let's see if this outro plays properly. Lovely documents.
Bye.
Bye. I guess
Eject,
it's
eject, eject.
I guess it's done.
It's still going. It can't be stopped.
Oh no!
Oh, it's the chat that never ends.